especially the next song, Because We Hunkered Down.
Yeah.
How was this not written for COVID? You
Long
can't tell
before
me.
COVID,
You can't-
actually.
How is that possible?
I know. And so the lyric is almost word for word a sonnet that Malcolm Guite, my English
And how much
friend,
do we love Malcolm Guite?
and
Come
who
on.
doesn't love Malcolm Guite? And so he wrote this ages ago. It connected to a time of life I was in, a struggle that I was kind of going through with friends, and that, you know, we all come to these situations. Well, we're actually in this right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a situation that could destroy beloved and cherished communities.
Mm-hmm.
And it's ideological, and so this actually does flow from the last.
Well, it's almost like a cause and effect.
Yeah.
Right. Here's the cause. Here's where society is at. Here's where we're struggling. Here's where we're fighting.
Yep.
And then this is sort of the response.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and that's universal. It's just that now we're in a situation where it's just it's been magnified with COVID and with the politics of the last year. But let me tell you a story. And I'll try not to make this too long. When Donald Trump was voted in to office, I had real problems with him, and I one time wrote on a I think on Facebook or something my opinion, and I received an email from a beloved friend that was so hurt at what I had written. And she said, "How could you?" And it was just, and I felt her pain. Like, she felt betrayed. I was like, "How did you get that from what I said?" But that's how she felt. And, you know, I didn't know how to deal with that, you know? And so I stopped speaking out for a while because I didn't want to hurt her. And I didn't know what to do with that. Several months later, I'm down in the States. I'm in her town. And we're going to go for dinner with her and her husband and some other dear friends that, you know, and I'm thinking, boy, I just hope this doesn't come up, you know, because if we get into this, it's the end of this friendship, probably, you know. And so we go have dinner, and they're foodies and they love good wine, and we're having a great time and all that kind of stuff. And then, I don't know, about 2 hours in, it came up, you know, and I said, look, are we getting into this? And if we're going to get into it, like, we're here all night, because I don't want to just start a fight and then go away mad. And so, like, either we're committed to sticking this through, or let's not start. And we all decided we had nowhere to go. And so it started. How can you think this way? Well, how can you think that way? Well, don't you know? Well, don't you know? Like, all that kind of stuff was going on in a very polite and respectful way. And we battled this out for hours, late into the evening. And what's interesting is, by the end of the night, none of us convinced the other.
No.
Not at all. But we agreed we still adored each other.
And that is the importance of the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to posting something in all caps on social media, which never changes anyone's mind about anything.
No.
Commit to having the conversation.
And we're friends to this day because we hunkered down.
Yeah. So that's the advice we need.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, listen to the words of this song, because it really is true. Because we hunkered down.
These bleak and freezing seasons may mean grace when they are memory. In time to come, when we speak truth, they'll take their place, telling the story of our journey home. Through dark December and stark January, with all its disappointments and the dreary work of February, when even breathing seems to be unwelcome work. Because through all of these we held together. Because we shunned the impulse to let go. Because we hunkered down through our dark weather and trusted to the soil beneath the snow. Slowly, slowly turning a cold key. Spring will unlock our hearts and set us free. Slowly, slowly turning a cold key. Spring will unlock our hearts and set us free. Spring will unlock our hearts and set us free. Spring will unlock our hearts and set us free. Because we hunkered down. Because we hunkered down. Because we hunkered down.
Because We Hunker Down off of Steve Bell's newest album, Wouldn't You Love to Know? And I'm curious to know what you originally thought this song was about, because of course we have a very different interpretation of it now because we hunkered down.
Well, see, it's because sometimes it's hard to kind of go back and even feel what you're feeling at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, part of it I was just attracted by the poem. I mean, I can tell you probably 30 or 40 stories of times when a community that I was involved in
mm-hmm.
faced being decimated by an issue. Whether it's, times that Nancy and I had struggles and that could have ended our marriage. Times that, people, we belonged to the same church and an issue came up that threatened to destroy the communion.
Mm-hmm.
And you could have let those things tear you apart. But for whatever reason you didn't, and you hunkered down, you did the work. And the love was preserved,
mm-hmm.
right? So I wouldn't want to sort of nail the song down to a particular experience. I remember when I read the poem, I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I've lived this several times,
mm-hmm.
and
mm-hmm.
I'm likely going to live it again.
Well, you kind of had to hunker down in a very practical sense and do the work just to be able to record the song. In the book, you kind of jokingly say it's one of the more expensive songs you've ever recorded.
Oh, we want to talk about that. Yeah, no, this is interesting.
That, because you had to hunker down and do some work.
Yeah, some physical work. So
yeah.
I'm not quite as young and spry as I used to be.
Oh, honey, none of us are.
Yeah, I know. And I'm noticing now that I don't have the same vocal range I used to have, and I'm starting to lose capacity for singing, and I'm starting to change the keys that I'm playing songs in so I can just squeak out songs. And I've dumped some songs that I just can't sing anymore. And when I wrote this song, the way it wanted to come out, I just, it ended up being too high for me to sing and too low. Like the vocal range of the entire song. So it's too high. I can't lower it because the low part gets too low, and I can't raise it for this, and so I was stuck. And so I thought, well, I can never do this song. Mm-hmm. I'm never going to be able to record it. But then I thought, well, maybe I can fight for this. Mm-hmm. And I got in touch with the vocal teacher, and we hunkered down. And so this was last spring, mm-hmm. and I says, I'm going to need to sing this on a record in a couple of months. That's my goal.
Wow.
Like, can we get there so I can at least once get this right? And so we hunkered down, and I started taking lessons, and it was 3 times a week for an hour, and worked really, really hard. And the goal was to get it done, mm-hmm. and it worked. Mm-hmm. I got that part of my vocals back, and I'm still we kept on going. I still take vocal lessons 3 times a week, and I think I'm probably now gonna for the rest of my life, because I want to fight for the gift,
mm-hmm.
which is it will be taken from me at some level. I mean, aging does do that, but
yeah.
But I hold on as long as I can.
Well, as a vocalist, I appreciate the effort and the work, because we've all come up against a song that we really wanted to sing, and we just didn't have the range and would just give up. But you it was your song, so you couldn't give up on it. So I'm glad you didn't, because there's a message there that we need to hear. So I appreciate the hunkering down.
but it also talks also about like desire and art and also craft and work, right? And sometimes I think for those of us that are artsy, we don't like the idea of discipline. Discipline feels fakey. I just want to let it all. I want to be authentic. I want to be me. Well, me sucks if I don't do a bit of work.
Right.
And so it's the artistic work is a combination of being an anarchist, in the sense of I don't want anything to hold me back. I just want to do my thing and be authentic. But if I want to do that well, I might have to practice a scale. I might have to, drink less coffee and more water. I might need sleep. I mean, disciplines are part of that. And if that's true physically, why would that not be true spiritually?
Right on.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's all that sort of that combination of, you want to be free to explore and do your thing, but to do that well, you also have to, in a sense, become an athlete and hunker down and do the work.